The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys Storylines with Nick Eatman.
What's up, friends? It's time for Cowboys Storyline. I am Nick Eatman here. It is Wednesday, November the 8th. Cowboys getting ready for a matchup with the New York Football Giants, and it's hard to kind of switch gears here a little bit. You've had a showdown game with Philadelphia, obviously a disappointing loss. Still, I think there were some positives to take from it. Not all. It's not a good loss for any callers that might think that that's what I'm saying, but I do think there's positives to take, and the schedule certainly gets to a point where you think the Cowboys could start winning some games, and it starts this week against the Giants, which the weird part is that they beat them 40-0 in week 1. And since then, I think the Giants are worse than they were as far as just health-wise and just just how they're playing. That's what it looks like from afar. And I think the Cowboys, from their health standpoint, maybe a little bit better also in how things are flowing a little bit more on offense, Dak playing better. Now they did have some injuries since then, Leighton, Trayvon Diggs, and all that. But I still think the Cowboys seem to be in a little better shape than they were when they beat them 40-0. The Giants are worse. Does that mean it's going to be more than 40-0? No, it doesn't. It means it'll probably be a little closer the way this weird NFL works. Storylines for the team. The Cowboys have agreed to terms, probably going to sign today. Wide receiver Martavis Bryant. Interesting move there. He's going to be on the practice squad. He's a guy that's big, tall, 6'4", 200-pounder, can run. Played, but hadn't played in a long time. It's been like 4 or 5 years. I believe he was with the Steelers, with the Raiders. He was on the suspension list for a while. He's been around in some other leagues. Cowboys did a workout, gave him a shot. And now, he's on the practice squad. And you can do things like this when you have a practice squad of 16 players, and you can call them up, 3 times during the year to elevate them during a game. So, to me, this is a look-and-see type thing. They've done it before. They did it with Tack McKinley, Antonio Callaway. So, and those guys really didn't contribute or anything like that. So this is just a chance to see what Martavis Bryant does. It's not anything on, they got to improve from Gallup, or they don't like what Brandon Cooks do. I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's, let's just see if this guy's got anything left, and if he does, we'll see how he fits. All right, 888-855-2297. That is the phone number for us. You can give us a call. We have 2 on the line, so we're going to start it right there. Gary in New Mexico, you're first off here.
Hey, Nick, I got a quick trivia question for you.
Oh, here we go. Don't embarrass me.
That's an easy one. Cowboys have had a franchise for, 60-plus years.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have they used their first-round pick on a quarterback?
Okay. That's a good one. Do you have any other questions? Comments?
I comment about today's Cowboys.
Go for it. And as you're talking, I might try to throw some in there.
You can look it up. Yeah, it's an easy question, but the Cowboys are not as good as I thought they were when the season started.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
And how so?
Well, the defense, we get kind of ahead of ourselves a little bit, and we forget the fact that they're putting in some new things on offense. There's new players. There's transition. This thing is a process, and it takes time. And while they're not as good as I thought they were when the season started, I still think they can get there. And I think we need to be patient with this coaching staff. I think we need to be patient with this team, because I am seeing improvement, and I'm seeing improvement on the offense. And I think when we play the Eagles December 10th, it's going to be for first place. I really do.
Yeah.
But with all of that said, and this is the craziness of being a Cowboy fan, when I look at the line for this week's game, and Dallas is a 16-plus point favorite, that scares the heck out of me.
It scares you to win the game, or scares you to cover, or?
I have seen in my life as a Cowboys fan, I have seen them completely go flat in games. They should win this game 50-0. And that just scares me to death. So what are your thoughts about the next 4 weeks for this team moving forward?
Well, and then before I let you go, I only can think of Aikman. I don't, unless there was somebody in the 60s, Craig Morton or somebody.
Craig Morton. It was Craig Morton. Craig Morton was the only other time they spent a first-round pick on a quarterback.
Okay.
That was in 1965.
65, okay. And I thought you were going to maybe throw out the Steve Walsh because he was a first-round pick from a supplemental draft, which ended up losing their first-rounder. So they lost the first-round pick.
Correct. Yeah, you're technically correct.
Yeah.
They technically spent a first-round pick on Walsh in the supplemental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Aikman, kind of Walsh with an asterisk, but Craig Morton.
Yeah, Craig. And remember, old Craig Morton, he took 2 teams to the Super Bowl, took Dallas to their first one. Let's not forget about old Craig. He was before my time, but let's remember those legends that got us to where we're at.
Well, and also he's one of those guys, too, like Herschel Walker. He was one of those guys that was good enough to trade for some value, and they traded, I believe, in 75 to get Randy White. So
yes, they did. They were able to. They got 10 years out of him.
Yeah.
Got a Super Bowl out of him, and then flipped him for a number 1 pick and got a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And he pushed.
That's general managing right there.
There you go. Yeah, a little different back in the day. They used to fleece teams all the time for their draft picks. I don't think everybody in the league valued draft picks the way the Cowboys did. So they were getting. It was weird how they were always. They got Too Tall Jones. They got Tony Dorsett. They got Randy White. I mean, they were in the top 5. In the 70s, like 3 times, and they were making the playoffs every year. I mean, a little different than it was now.
Real quick story on that for fans that may not be aware of the history. The Cowboys in 1973 traded Billy Parks and Tody Smith, and that was the starting wide receiver from the year before and their first-round pick from 2 years before. They traded those 2 players to the Houston Oilers in exchange for a first and a third-round pick in the 74 draft, and they used those 2 picks to draft Danny White and Ed Too Tall Jones. I mean, so the Cowboys were way ahead of the game back in the 70s as far as – and they're good at that today. They're still good at drafting and developing players. Where they're not good is second contracts and things of that nature. But, yeah, the Cowboys were just way ahead of the game back then.
Definitely. All right. Thanks for the call. You talked a little bit about the next 4 weeks. I said it yesterday. I said today. I mean, the Cowboys will be favored for these games. That they should be able to win. But at the same time, I think I would do every single game, every single day. I would just put a play from the Cardinals game. Just throw it out there. Cardinals game. And this just goes to show that, yes, you can be better than this other team, but if you're not prepared to go and win the game, anybody can beat anybody. But the Giants, they're a mess right now. And if the Cowboys go out and just do anything close to taking care of business, it should be an easy game. But they've got to do it. And it starts here on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got to be prepared. If you're prepared, they should go out and they should win this game. All right, Dylan in Northport, Florida, you're next. Dylan, what's up?
Hey, Nick. How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Hey, I want to address Rob from yesterday. The call was something, but before I do that, is there somewhere like that as we as callers and listeners can go to chat with each other? Should we just use your guys' Twitter page there, the DC StoryLine?
Sure, go for it. And tell people to follow it. I mean, I'm sitting at like 700 followers. Let's go. Let's get that up. But, yeah.
Well, you know the thing yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried calling back in, and I'm like, I got to talk to somebody about this because it's driving me crazy. And that's where I landed with that.
Chat rooms can be dangerous. We've done it. We've had that in the past, and it didn't always work out. It wasn't always a football conversation. So you can get kind of dicey when it comes to that. But yeah, we don't really have that the message boards and stuff like that. But yeah, just feel free to use the StoryLine Twitter page. Go for it there. But yeah, cool. I mean, and the thing is that I love when Rob calls. I really do. I love because he's got a different perspective than some people do, which is fine. And and I think he looks at it differently. Like this was their chance to go do something, and they let it slip away, and it won't happen again. And I just disagree. I think it can happen again.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, Rob's he's a Cowboys Show Hall of Famer. I mean, he's, 10 years? I don't know how long he's been calling in, but it seems like forever, for all the shows. Yeah. So, much respect to him. But there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Dallas. I'm just going to go through a couple of them here real quick. Maybe talk them off of a ledge. I don't know. But, since the Niners game, CeeDee Lamb, 117 yards, 158 yards, 191 yards. He's got the highest catch percentage of any of the top 10 receivers in the league throughout the whole year. His performance is not a fluke. I know you mentioned the fluke yesterday. It's not a fluke. Brandon Aubrey is the most dependable kicker right now in football, maybe next to Justin Tucker. He's 19 for 19 in the season. One missed extra point on his first. That was a fluke, the missed PAT. He's not a fluke. Turpin makes game-changing plays every single game in the return game. Kick returns, punt returns. Now he's getting involved in the offense. Not a fluke. Dak Prescott, last 3 weeks, thrown 8 touchdowns, 1 interception on a tip ball. Passer rating hasn't dipped below 109. And Dave Hellman, the legend, the absolute legend, has pointed out yesterday on third down this season, all season long, Dak's completed 75.5% of his passes, averages 9.7 yards per attempt. Passer rating is 118.7. That's first in the league in all 3 of those categories. Dak's not a fluke. This Dallas defense is really good. Tied for third in the league interceptions, first in defensive touchdowns. They've got Micah. They got the rising star in Bland, 2 of the top defenders in the league. They have a top 5 passing defense. They're just outside the top 10 in rushing defense. They're ranked 11. If you told me before the season started they'd have a top 5 pass defense and nearly a top 10 rush defense, they were ranked 22nd last year in rush defense. I'm taking that absolutely all day, which the rush defense was kind of surprising because I didn't think they were as good as they are in rush defense, but the numbers indicate they are. And then the last thing, when you look at the schedule, the next 4 games for the Cowboys, super winnable games, and they go play the Eagles. So if they end up winning the next 4 games, the Eagles got to go play after this bye week the Chiefs, the Bills, the 49ers. They're losing one of those games. I'd bet my house on it. That is a grueling schedule. And then after that, they got to come to Dallas and play the Cowboys. I don't like their chances there. And you said, Lyle, yesterday that the Cowboys are going to win the next 5 straight, including the Eagles game, and I agree with you. So, my dude, Rob, take a Xanax, enjoy the roller coaster ride, and as Ambar always says, man, let's freaking go.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks, Dylan. And a lot of positive things, a lot of things to be positive about. But let me just say this from just playing from the other side of the coin, all of those stats, all the rankings, all the players they have, the guys that are doing this and this, and then going into the next 5 games, the schedule and all that. I think from the skeptical point of view is, does any of the things you said make me feel better about them playing at San Francisco or at Philly? All of the things that rankings, all these are good stuff, and these are things that can get them there. But I think if the other side of it, other fans that will be more upset because they're like, that's great. All these numbers are great, but they're not letting us beat these games. Can we win those games? And that's why it makes it kind of tough for this job, because when you're sitting here and you want to talk about the Giants game and focus on that kind of stuff, but then it's like, well, how do we win in the playoffs and all this stuff? How do they get there? Yeah, that great win, good job, but can they win in the playoffs? And so that's you can't get there until you get there. But that's what makes it fun. It's frustrating at the same time because, Dylan, you've laid out a bunch of points and a lot of reasons of why the Cowboys should be able to put themselves in that great position. But you're talking to fans that only care about that position and when they get there. They don't really care about the journey that it takes to get to Disney World. They just want to be on Epcot. They just want to ride the rides. But it's going to take a lot of driving, a lot of hotels, all these things. You got to get there, and that's where the Cowboys are. The journey is still going here. All right, let's go to a text question here from Jack in Pennsylvania. This week could be a way to really tighten some things up against a weaker opponent. What are some things you would like to see the team focus on being better at this game? I bet people can say this with me in unison here. Run the football. Run the ball. That's what they need to do. That's what I'd like to see them do. I'd like to see them run the ball. I want to see Tony Pollard get in there, make some plays, a little bit of balance. How about get inside that 10-yard line and run the ball in? The only time that's really happened this year has been against the Giants. And they've traded away Leonard Williams since then, but they did have a couple of rushing touchdowns to Pollard. I looked this up yesterday. I didn't realize Pollard had not scored a rushing touchdown since then. Since that game. He scored 2 against the Giants. Your fantasy owners are like, yes, I got Tony Pollard. That's what I thought. And they hadn't scored a touchdown, rushing touchdown since then. All right, Curtis in Oklahoma is next. Curtis.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Excellent, Nick. How are you?
Great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you talked about the journey. I really think that if we can stay healthy, especially at certain positions, we're definitely going to be battle tested. We'll see all the contenders. So, I really think that a game like Sunday where you had a lot of adversity, you fought your way back, but it still leaves you hungry, is going to bode well for our team. One thing that I wanted to talk about in that game that kind of went to the point you just mentioned, too, about the running game that I didn't hear a lot of people talk about was going 3 and out on our first drive and just running 2 runs, first and second down up the middle. I would like to see them be more creative on that first drive on the first and second down. I would still like to get Rico Dowdle the ball to start the first couple of possessions and then bring in Tony Pollard or even some jet sweeps. And I've also said before, too, give Dak a read option or draw him up a run on that first series to let the defense know that that's something they could see all day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I, and thanks for the call, Curtis. I mean, that's good thinking. That's good, trying to come up with some solutions here. You can kind of take that one of two ways. That first drive looked kind of bad. The way they just kind of ran the ball and run, pass, punt. The coaches will argue that helps set up some other plays. I think it's important to establish to a team that you're going to run the football. And that you're not going to be scared of them. And whether or not you should be, I think it's important to do that. Just to get all of your plays in the playbook. All the play actions, all the waggles, boots, all that stuff, the RPO. If it's not ever going to be an option, then you can't do run-pass option if it's never one or the other, So I do think that there's a mindset of trying to see what we've got. See if our guys can do this. I mean, all week long, Tyler Smith, Tyler Biotish, Zach Martin, they're probably like, yeah, we got this. Run the ball. You know what I mean? I mean, you have to psych yourself up and do that. And you run a couple times, and you're like, okay, because we're not going to be doing this all day. Now, as the game wore on, they had some success. Pollard popped a couple of runs there, not a lot, but some. And I think you just got to keep people honest. And so that's part of it. But first drive of the game, you want to send a different type of message where you go and score. So I kind of am more of the approach of let's call the plays that are going to go down here and you think are going to work, and let's go, let's don't send that message. Let's go send a message that says 7-0. That one would probably work out better. All right, Ronnie in New Jersey. Ronnie, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. Nick, I got to tell you, I got to apologize. I've been calling, and ever since I called, I always try to get into my questions just so I can get out quick. But I wanted to tell you, man, I've been watching you since the Cowboys break, and I actually enjoyed when you were last week and the week before hanging with the boys. That seemed like that environment. It was fun.
Yeah. I enjoy that show. I enjoy that show, especially on Friday when they're really just kind of cutting loose. They've said what they're going to say. They're having fun.
They're like that every day.
Is that every day? Yeah. I mean,
they're like that every day.
I tell you what, they're a producer's nightmare because you got to keep your hand on the button there to make sure that nothing is said that doesn't need to go out there. Oh man, it's a different mentality though. I love it though. I love it. I've made it 2 Fridays in a row when Kurt Daniels is out, so I'm gonna be peeking around and go, Kurt, you out this week? I might try to join him again.
Yeah, man, it's fun watching you in these shows and all the other shows, Cowboys Break, Players Lounge. These guys are just fun. I love listening to your opinion, Nate Newton, and some of you guys, because one of the things that is like, I know you guys are fans also. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy your honesty because that's the reason I keep on calling, because you're very honest up front. You see the same things we see. You get upset like we get upset and all that stuff. So I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate it. I don't want to take too much time because I know you got other callers. So I just want to tell you I appreciate you and most of you guys. That little guy, he's got his own show. Every once in a while he gets on my nerves because he's such a – listen, we love the Cowboys, but you got to see it from both points of views, and that's what you do and some of you other guys.
Who are we talking about?
Mickey. Mickey. Mickey could get on your nerves every once in a while. That's why I miss Rob with Mickey, because Mickey will bring him down.
Rob and Mickey, man, that was fun. Yeah, for sure.
That was fun. Because Rob would see our point of view. You know what I'm saying? Like you.
Well, everybody.
So, that's what I was just calling for. I enjoy the show, and I'll call some other time.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks, Ronnie. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everybody's kind of, everybody here has their own agenda, and I don't mean to say that in a bad way. That's not a bad word. I mean, but they kind of, they're all in different places here. That we have a lot of voices here in on these podcasts, and some of them work for the team, some of them do not, and that can make it easier or harder to express your opinions at times. And different types of fans, and that fans can relate to different people. They relate to ones that are just like, hey, it's either black or white. No moral victories, all that kind of stuff. There's some that are like just really frustrated fans. I think some people can relate to different types of people. So, and I miss, I miss the show. I miss, being on the break, at times, miss being on with different people, getting a chance to talk to other people. But that's why I love the callers, because I get a chance to talk to you guys. And so that's kind of makes up for it as well. But yeah, we have great banter. Every time I get a chance to go do that, I like filling in for somebody and getting here and mixing it up for sure. All right. Next. Yes. Let's do this. Rob from Vegas.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, man? I say this, and there's no sarcasm at all. When you call, I get excited. Because I know that you're going to bring it. You're going to challenge me, and I like it. And you're going to bring a perspective that not everybody has, but we need it. So let's go. What do you got?
So, listen. I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I'm 56. I've probably been 50 years. When I look at a game, during the game, and I'm sure a lot of people do this, okay, I always yell, it's a big event at the house for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. My wife, everybody, we throw the football around. And I always will say, this is a big play. And it could be the first quarter, it could be the second quarter, but you just know that this could change the way the whole game would go. And that's how I felt about the loss. Mm-hmm. Do I think the Cowboys could play good and beat Philly? Absolutely. I thought they were going to beat Philly in Philly, and I know they could win in Dallas. But it bothered me that we keep hearing about this team. They're this, that, and I don't want to see them waste Dak like they wasted Tony Romo. And I see this. By the time Tony Romo had a full team, he was beaten down, and then Dak came in. And now Dak is playing great. You know me; I criticize Dak.
Yeah.
But they opened it up, and Dak's playing great. My only concern is what I kind of said yesterday. He is 7-16 when he throws the ball more than 40 times. So I don't want to see that, because I know usually what the result is. And I enjoy the week by week. But yes, I'm always looking forward, because you know who the top dogs are. Philly, unfortunately, who I despise, and San Francisco. You got totally annihilated by the 49ers. Okay, and I thought, okay, they're gonna make it up. They're gonna beat Philly, and they had it, and they choked it away. Whatever you want to call it, and it just bothers me, because I know that's gonna affect us. The Arizona game, we all know that's gonna come back to haunt us. But I love the fans. I love the banter. I just love it. I love everybody's point of view. My point of view is it's not that I'm negative. I love the team, but I already know what the good is. We know what the good is. We need to fix the two glaring things on this team is, unfortunately, we cannot run, and we can't stop the run. And unfortunately, that never works. That never works.
In any league. In any era of football, if you can't run and can't stop the run, you're not going to win.
Unless you have Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes or a John Elway, unless you got that kind of quarterback that could make up the difference, which we don't. I think Dak's top 10, wherever you want to put him, and that's the only thing. And I just want this team I know they're going to beat the Giants unless something catastrophic happens. They own the Giants, and now the Giants are down to the water boy playing quarterback.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about those games, but it's the big games. We all know I'm not penciling anybody in for the playoffs.
No.
But to me, the playoffs, if we don't get hurt, I assume we're going to be there. But I want more.
Rob,
you know?
I get it. I got a question for you.
Sure.
What's the dish on game day? What do we? I mean, we mix it up. What on a big game like last week, Philly? What do we?
Honestly,
yeah.
I won't eat. I don't eat unless
fair. I totally get.
Halftime.
I totally get this.
You know, in Vegas, the games come on like the early morning game is 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll be having a cup of coffee, and then I get all jacked up, and then let's go. And then, but most of the games are 1:30 in Vegas.
Okay.
And I won't eat till halftime. And if it's a night game, I'll have a couple of beers. We watch the game, but
there we go.
There's no eating. There's throwing the football around. A lot of cursing, unfortunately, but there's no eating.
Yeah. All right.
The rest of the group, they eat, but no.
I feel that 100%. Thank you for the call, Rob. Appreciate it. I know you'll be calling back. Love to hear from him. All right, Brian in Pennsylvania. Brian, you've been dealing.
Hey, how you doing, Nick?
How are you? Are you dealing with knuckleheads that you work with, deal with, live next to? I mean, what do we got here?
Oh, just a lot of smiling and nodding. So yeah, you won. There's really.
We'll see you in a month.
Nothing we can say. See you in a month. See if it's the same. Good luck to your quarterback, and may his health stay the same. Right. But I had a question for you. I was looking back and all these games that are coming up that are going to be competitive, but winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at every phase, something we could do better, or one player at every position, or at every phase and coaching.
Okay.
And I wanted to kind of give it to you and see if you thought that there'd be a different player that could drastically improve the performance of the whole team.
Offense, defense. Okay.
Tyler Biotish.
Okay.
If he stepped up his game, that would change the whole look of the run and pass game. Defense, it's Damone Clark, because I think we're kind of still, no one has solidified that Leighton Vander Esch center of the field linebacker position,
Yeah.
For special teams, I really don't know.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Sam Williams is a gunner, is just a beast, and Kevontae Turpin's breaking loose, so that's fine. Yeah, I guess there should be. I don't know who else you could say could step up their game to make that look a little better.
I'll say this, and I don't know. Well, actually, I have an answer for you, but go ahead. You want to do one more for coaching? Yeah.
The coaching aspect I want is for all the talent we have and all the ways that this offense and defense is supposed to work, I want whenever a team shows a weakness, for that unit to exploit that weakness and make them have to do something. Because I've never seen us do that in a game, where a team shows us something and we're like, uh-oh, and we just attack it to death. Like with the Eagles when their cornerbacks were going down. We should have just been slinging the ball to whoever,
Yeah.
Because we have playmakers, and if you have a third or fourth string guy on CD or Gallup, even though Gallup has problems, I would rather throw the ball up to Michael Gallup on the number 5 cornerback than, and lose that way than these dink and dunk 5 and 6 yard passes until the playmakers get back on the field, But I'll hang up and I'll get your thoughts on it.
All right. Good stuff. Tyler Biotish at center. Yeah, that's where it all starts. And if you wonder why some teams do the tush push better than others, to me it comes down to center. That Jason Kelsey is the best center in football, so that's the reason where it starts there with the Eagles. I think he's really good at that. I don't know how intimidating he is when he's screaming at Damone Clark through a face mask, but I think as a center and as a lead guy, he's really good. And I think Biotish, it's where it kind of starts. He's played well, but if he was better, if that interior line was better, they could kind of move the ball in the red zone. That kind of affects that. Damone Clark, he's leading the team in tackles. He just wouldn't know it. Nothing against him. There's just not a lot of wild plays. He's making plays. He's making tackles, but you'd like to see a little bit more out of him. I don't know if that would be my guy there. I think Gilmore and Bland have played well, but you need them to play even better. But I'll say this. The safeties aren't doing anything for me. I just don't see anything happening out of Curse and Hooker and Donovan Wilson. it's not really a three-headed monster right now. I mean, they're not making those type of wow plays. So that would be one for me. Special teams, whoever it is, and I know it's been Sean Wright at times, whoever. I mean, I know a couple times, but don't hold on a punt. Don't hold. As great as it would be for Turpin to make a big play, it's worse when he catches the ball at the 20 and you've had a holding penalty when the kick was in the air and now the ball's back at the 10. You don't need to do that. And you certainly don't need to have a hands-to-the-face penalty like Rashaan Evans had on a kickoff. Aubrey leads the league in touchbacks. It's going to probably be a touchback. There's no reason to be punching anyone or getting a helmet and hands-to-the-face penalty. That's ridiculous there. Coaching, they all need to be better there. I mean, like that's you're not just going to pick one thing. They all could be a little bit better. So I would want to go with one. Let me go one more caller before we go to break. This is Chain in North Carolina. Is that right, Chain?
Yes, sir. Shane. Yes, sir.
Oh, Shane. Okay, come on, Beam. Shane.
Yeah, man.
What's up, man?
You guys were asking for, not much. I seen you guys were asking for the most random Cowboys player of all time. So I had my submission.
I tweeted that out. Yeah, I was going to do that after the break, but yeah, give us a start. Who's yours?
Mike Quinn, quarterback.
Mike Quinn.
Quarterback from 99 to 98, I think. He played 3 games for us in 98.
What college?
Stephen F. Austin.
Boom. Lumberjacks. There you go. Mike Quinn's a good answer because if you're ever having to go through the alphabet, do we have a player with an A, B, C? What about you? Mike Quinn. Definitely.
That's right.
That's right. Good one.
Yes, sir.
You got any other question or comment?
I just want to say, how about them Cowboys? Let's go, man.
Love it. I love it. Thank you for the call. I mean, that's where this show is. This show has turned a corner right now, today, because I had a caller that called in that just wanted to say Mike Quinn. That's it. That's the show. This is the show that we created, and it can't get much better than that. I'm going to go to break right now. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. Would people call just to say that, or yesterday, just to say that they lost because of daylight savings, because they needed an extra hour, which, by the way, if you really think about it, we did get an extra hour. So without that hour, they lose 28-17, so that extra hour actually helped. But whatever. That was fun. Fun call. Just like that one. Appreciate it. We'll be right back here on Cowboys Storyline.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you. Back to Cowboys Storylines.
All right, guys, we got about 15 more minutes to go here. Cowboys Storyline. I got a caller on the line. We're going to go to that right now. Justin in California.
Hey, Nick, what's up, brother?
What's up, man?
You were on hanging with the boys, and you said to call in, and you said you didn't have any callers, but you have a ton of callers, man.
Got a ton of callers.
I've been trying to call for like a week, and I could never get in.
You're
I finally did. So,
You're in. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm in. Huh?
Let's do this.
All right, so this might be beating a dead horse. It sounds like. Sorry, I was trying to call. I don't know what the other callers have said, but this Eagles loss is just going to hurt for a very, very long time, man. And so we probably play the Eagles again or the Dolphins or somebody who, is showing something. And it's the same thing every year. We win the easy games and we just happen to lose the hard ones. And I think Cowboys fans just aren't going to be happy. Like if we win next week, we're just gonna be like, well, all right, who cares? It doesn't matter, and I fall back to the point where we're signing Martavius Bryant, but we don't have somebody to back up Pollard really, and we got another back in there, but that's it. And I feel like if Pollard goes down, we're really going to be, down the creek a little bit. And I just don't understand why we didn't try to get Leonard Fournette, or I didn't even know Melvin Gordon was available. Like, I just don't understand why we don't address the running game when it's so important to us. And I'll hang up and listen to what you got to say.
You know what? I'm surprised by that as well, that they don't have a little bit more backup depth at the position. I think they feel like they've got two guys that are almost the same, Enrico Dowdle and Malik Davis, who's on the practice squad. So, and Davis has played in a couple of games, hadn't gotten any carries, I don't think, or not many. And so, I think that they feel like they've got that standpoint from a backup, but not really a veteran guy that they wanted to get. And I don't even know who would be out there if something were to happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't agree with it. I'll just say that. I've said it at the trade deadline. It didn't have to be the name everyone was talking about, but just somebody, a little bit of depth there if you were to lose a player at running back. And I do feel like they're thin there. They're probably more thin at that position than any other spot. So I can't give you a good answer because I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. So yeah, I mean, and the Eagle loss, it'll stick with you until the next game. I mean, or the next time next time you get a win, maybe against a team that you didn't think you were going to beat. I say 5 in a row. I think they do. I think they will win 5 in a row. That doesn't mean it stops at 5. That doesn't mean I'm scared of them going to Buffalo and beating them. I think Buffalo. I don't like using the word overrated, underrated, because everyone's got their own ratings. You know what I mean? I put together our power ranking thing. I just see all the kind of rankings. I mean, what do these people know? If I had to do a ranking, I don't know what these teams are. I look at certain teams, and I don't think Seattle's that good, but they are. I mean, and then I see them play Baltimore, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're not that good. I mean, like, I don't know who's good. They're all, you can kind of tell with some records and all that, but, I feel like Buffalo is supposed to be really good, but every time I watch them play, I'm not, worried. I see the Giants throwing into the end zone to try to win the game against them, and the Giants are a mess. But anyways, the Cowboys got to go beat the Giants, and you can say, well, no one cares if they win. Until they lose or until they don't play well, and then everyone's going to care. But if they go and they win this game like they've beaten some of the others at home, 37-10, whatever, it's just going to be like, oh, well, we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But anyways, I did, before the show, I tweeted out just give me a random Cowboy player of the game, of the day. Just give me a random guy. And you guys have thrown some random players out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this call here, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm just going to go through these random names. And the first thing that pops into my head, that's what I'm going to say about this player. So I've got too many to even look at here. All right, let's go to another caller, Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia. Sebastian.
Good morning, guys. I hope everyone is doing well.
What's up?
I have 2 quick things, Nick. First, I think in the red zone we just need 5 plays, just 5.
5 plays
that we work to perfection.
This sounds like the movie Remember the Titans, where he was just like, I only got 5 plays. Cool.
Yeah, but from the 10 especially, 2 runs, 2 passes, 1 shot, 1 short, that can get us 3 to 5 yards a clip and end 11 yards. And then the second thing is, there's the thing that luck, and I think it more so should be fortune, because luck denotes randomization. That's why we got unlucky at the end of that game. You get all the flags. Fortune favors the prepared. are we preparing well enough to take the refs out of the game and win these close games against these great opponents? Because right now we seem like a very good team that's on the precipice of going to that next level, but we haven't hit there yet. And I'll hang up and listen. You guys have a great day.
All right. This is not the first call from Sebastian. He's called many times, but it's the first call I can remember where you had like a speed talker. Like you might be that guy at the end of the commercials, where they're just like tactile license. Like, man, I didn't understand half the things that you said. I'm sorry. Luck. I think you said that. They need some luck to be fortunate. Yeah, they were not. I mean, Cowboys did not get that. I mean, and you have to get some of that. But when you just think about the fumbles that the Eagles had, I mean, they had 3 fumbles that it looked like it was going to go the other way. And, the Cowboys, I mean, the Eagles scored every single time after they got the ball there. But, it's just one of those things. It just the ball didn't bounce their way. And you could tell in the 49er game back 3 weeks ago when that ball just stayed in bounds when Tony Pollard fumbled it. I'm like, how's this ball stay in bounds? But it did. And it led to points for San Francisco. And, of course, they blew them out. So it wasn't like it was just one play. But you can kind of tell sometimes early on in the game of how things are going to be. And that one certainly wasn't one of them there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things have to go right. And the ball has to bounce their way. And I'll say this. Sometimes you forget, when you win a game, you kind of forget the plays that, that was lucky. I'm glad we got that. I mean, sometimes you do, but not everyone harps on it as much. I mean, I know the game against the Rams back in 2 weeks ago, where there was a penalty early in the game. There was 2 sacks in the first drive, and like, what's going on here? And then it was like an illegal contact penalty across the middle. Cowboys get a first down. They go that drive. They score a touchdown, and then they end up kind of blowing them out. Or plays early in the game that you remember them more if you lose. When you win, you kind of like, oh, well, that was expected. Or about time, we got a break, that kind of stuff. All right. So I said earlier that with some random Cowboy players of the day, and there's like 200 responses here. I can't get to all of them. Let's just kind of go down the list. The first one I see is Woody Dantzler. I mean, awesome. Greatest play in the history of the NFL, in my opinion, at least from the Cowboys. His kickoff return against the Niners, I believe in 2002, has everything you want. Has speed, has power, has tightrope in the sideline, has a stiff arm. It was awesome. Absolutely great. Patrick Creighton. Love Patrick Creighton. Love the fact that my favorite moment from Patrick Creighton, I know you guys have a moment that you don't necessarily like, but my moment for Patrick Creighton was when in Atlanta 2009, where he was basically demoted in 2 positions, wide receiver and punt returner in the same week. Lost his job in the same week to both positions, and he was not happy about it. But he comes back in that game, scores a touchdown as a receiver and a punt returner, because the punt returner they brought in got hurt. Alan Rawson got hurt, and Creighton comes in, scores a touchdown in both those. Says, well, I'll show you. Jack Del Rio, that's right, he played. I don't have a whole lot on him. Robert Newhouse, Marco Rivera. I do have a story on Jack Del Rio. It's not a good story. I'm not going to name names. We had a guy that worked here one time, and he was supposed to get a story. He was supposed to give us a photo, find a photo of Leroy Jordan. Something happened where Leroy Jordan, we had to get a story on Leroy Jordan. He goes and searches for Leroy Jordan, and he pulls out, and he goes, here it is. It's a good photo. It's in color. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, cool. We run it. It's Jack Del Rio, number 55. It got labeled wrong in the Associated Press, but this guy was like, looks good. Looks like, yeah, Leroy Jordan. Where's the eye black? Color, good photo. Like, yeah, that's Jack Del Rio. Good job. It's wrong driveway. Good job. Robert Newhouse, one of my favorite players of all time. Absolutely love and respect him. Rest in peace to the house. He was the best. I knew him after he played, but absolutely love him. One thing I love about Robert Newhouse, and I realize I'm not going to get to 200 names here, but one thing I love about Robert Newhouse, and in his 13th season as a fullback, running down on kickoffs, causing a fumble, making plays. He did that in a game against the Giants one time. But you just got to think about, as a fullback, 13 years into your career, and you're still running down on kickoffs, making plays. Love him. Marco Rivera, Gary Hogeboom, Terrence Copper, Rocket Ismail. I loved Rocket, especially when he was at Notre Dame. He was one of my favorite players when they got him. Of course, he scores a touchdown in the first game in 1999. Unbelievable. Keith Davis, just Yes. I mean, yes, everything about Keith Davis. I'm not going to say too much. Maybe we might be working on a documentary on Keith Davis, which would be pretty awesome. Phil Posderick, I only know one game. That was the Giants game where they got like 4 first downs in a row, and they were all called back for holding 75. And he just couldn't block Lawrence Taylor. God, the nerve of Phil Posderick, who just couldn't block Lawrence Taylor. What's wrong with him? Anthony Spencer, for about 4 years, we called him Almost Anthony because he almost made a lot of plays, and then until it finally hit, and then he finally did, made some huge plays. Ken Norton Jr., probably my favorite play of Super Bowl 27 when he stops the running back at the line of scrimmage there, has his hand right in his face mask, knocks him out. I mean, and the announcer says the KO for Ken Norton. That was just one of those plays of like, we're better than you. And if you didn't know it in the first quarter and a half, here it is. We're better than you. You're not going to come back. We're going to beat you, and we'll probably beat you again next year as well. Keith Brooking, Roy Williams, the receiver. One thing about Roy Williams I'll never forget is interviewing him in his locker, and he had maple syrup in the back. Those people have, in their locker, they have vitamins, keys, phone, wallet, and all that. He had maple syrup. Like he said that the syrup here for the pancakes wasn't good enough, so he brought his own. Quincy Carter, we don't have enough time for Quincy Carter stories. Kevin Ogletree, same. Kevin Ogletree, though, great moment there in New York. And who can forget that game where he had 2 touchdowns against the Giants on a Wednesday night, the only Wednesday night game the Cowboys have ever played. He saw his brother, who was in the hospital earlier that day in New Jersey. He got the chance to see him, said he was going to go and have a great game for him. Goes out, has 2 touchdowns. They win the game. It's hard to get better than that. Randall Cunningham is the reason why, to this day, Stephen Jones calls me Nick at Night, because in 2000, he told me that we might sign Randall Cunningham. Give him a call. This is Stephen Jones. Give him a call. We might get a story for you. 10 o'clock, I called him. Nothing. Call me back. When? In an hour. So I stayed up. I called him. 4 a.m, he calls me and says, we just signed Randall Cunningham. So we put the story up, and we got it up. And to this day, Nick at Night, that for Randall Cunningham, who played 1 year. Reggie Collier. Wow, good name. Lincoln Coleman. Troy Hambrick. Tom Rafferty. Pac-Man Jones. I just went right by Troy Hambrick. Troy Hambrick's one of 6 players in Cowboys history that have an 80-yard run. 6 players have had 80-yard run in Cowboys history. 5 players. And Emmitt Smith's not one of them. Ezekiel Elliott's not one. But Troy Hambrick, 80-yard run in the rain in a blowout loss to the Eagles, just ripped off an 80-yard run. So good for him. Tom Rafferty, Pac-Man Jones, Stepford Williams, Bernie Kosar, Jamil Showers, forever. Jamil Showers. Yep, Jamil Showers. I remember in 2016 offseason where people were saying, the Showers is a better quarterback than the guy you drafted. This Prescott, Showers is better than him. Yeah, and he was for like a practice or 2. Then the games came on, and whatever. Bill Bates, that wins. Scott Case, Paul Palmer. Remember, scored the winning touchdown against the Redskins in the only win in 1989. Bo Scarborough. I don't think he ever played for the Cowboys. Drafted out of Alabama, played against them in Detroit. Robert Levette, number 29, good returner. Crawford Kerr, Darryl Clack, Paul Palmer again, Newhouse again, Swervin' Curvin Richards, Dexter Coakley, Gerald Sensabaugh, Golden Richards, Lance Lenore, Tom Rafferty, LaRon Robinson, Shante Carver, Peerless Price. I can go all day. This is awesome. Eric Bjornson, Kevin Ogletree, Al Sherman Singleton, Ike Holt, Kenny the Shark Gant, Flozell Adams, Jacob Rogers, Eddie George, Steve Pelleur. Let's just end it on Steve Pelleur. How about that? Any other calls? Yeah, one more call. Let's do a call. Tim in Grapevine.
Nick, man, you're getting the waterworks going.
I'm just throwing
with a montage of players. Like, there goes my whole life, man.
There you go.
Well, here's one for you. Reggie Swinton. I liked him growing up, and then I thought Alex Tanney was going to be a really good quarterback.
Man. So did we.
I saw his YouTube trick videos. Oh, this guy's got accuracy.
We at training camp one year, Alex Tanney, and a receiver named Eric Rogers. We thought that was going to be the next Marino to Clayton. Like that was it. Those guys, that was the best.
Well, the current love affair that I have, I probably shouldn't say that. It's kind of weird, but Rico Dowdle. So here's who he reminds me of: Isaiah Crowell. Runs angry, runs violent. You know, they have almost the exact same athletic profile, same height. Dowdle's 0.2 of a second faster in the 40 and 10-yard split. They have the exact same vertical at 38 inches. Crowell's a little bit heavier by like 8 pounds, 10 pounds. But from what I've seen from Dowdle with this offensive line, I think that's something we should consider doing more to soften up the defense for Pollard, because it seems like Pollard, he's really good when we have a crease and he can slash, put his foot in the ground, cut, then he'll really maximize that crease. Well, this year we're not really creating the running lanes like last year, and I think part of that is due to Terrence Steele, his recovery on the right side, and then for some reason something's going on with Biotish. I'm not sure what it is. I thought last year he finally turned the corner. It seems like he kind of regressed a little bit. And, of course, Tyron Smith is kind of getting a little bit older. But what are your thoughts on Rico Dowdle? Is this just another fan, the fan theory or hope that, hey, this might solve the run game? I mean, is there anything there?
Well, I think he's got something there. Thanks for the call, Tim. I think he's got something there. I mean, you wouldn't be in the position you are if you don't have, the ability to do, do the job. And he's a complete back. He catches the ball well. I think he blocks well. He does run pretty aggressively. I don't know about him running angry. I don't know if he's got that level yet, but he does run hard. And, for his size, he's not a big guy, but he's not a small guy. He looks like a running back. And I think he can get the job done. But there is always something to be said for those backup running backs. They just feel like when you get in the game, they got a little extra gear, just like Pollard did. And it was like, man, he needs to play more and more. And then now we're seeing when they get the lead role, it's not the same. And we've seen that. We've seen that happen where the guy comes in, and the one exception I would say to that was probably DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was the backup to other guys, to Barber, to Felix Jones, Choice, and he was running well. And and then when he actually got as a starting job, he handled it well, and he had broke records. But I do think there is something to be said for the backup. But it doesn't mean they shouldn't be playing a little bit more, because less could be more for Tony Pollard. So you might be getting more out of Pollard by giving him less carries, giving them more to Rico. So it might be a 2-for-1 situation. All right. This was fun, guys. I appreciate all the texts. I still have all these names. I'm gonna throw some out there. You're gonna get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow on Cowboy Storyline. Thanks to Chris Beam. I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you tomorrow. I got B.W. Webb, Charlie Waters, Todd Lober, Michael Downs, Dexter Clinkscale. That's the best name ever. Dexter Clinkscale, Van Testaverde, Dexter Coakley, Stephen McGee, Skylar Green, Dwayne Thomas, Garth Jacks. And go all day long. All right.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!